Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar that we've all been waiting for, the localization services in MENA, hosted by Dubai International Content Market. Thank you for joining us today. The webinar will start soon. Lots of interesting insights, so please do not miss it. The chat is now open for you to send in your questions. The format will be very straightforward and simple, and hopefully we'll keep it as entertaining and informative as possible. We have three wonderful speakers with us today. I'll be moderating this panel. We have with us Emmanuel Belleville joining us from France. He is the managing director and co-founder at Screens, a dubbing and subtitling company. Maha Farid will be joining us from Egypt. She is the sales director at Tanweer. And we also have Sarah Tadini from WIAC joining us from here in Dubai, from the WIAC platform, one of the popular platforms here in the MENA region. We will start with presentations from our speakers. They will be talking about different aspects of their business. And this will be followed by a few questions from my side, but also I'm very excited to get your questions. So please do submit them whenever you get the chance. I'm Heba Kuraim, like I said, I am a content market and distribution specialist here in the MENA region. And content localization is very close to my heart because there are lots of international production houses and distributors that want to expand their business into the MENA region, and localization is a very important part of this. We will talk about many different aspects, how dialects are chosen, the process, the experiments, the various experiments, and the different angles from the localization in the localization business. First up, we have with us Emmanuel. He will be presenting his company. Emmanuel is the managing director at Screens France, and he is also the content acquisitions and partnerships person at Beam. Previously, Emmanuel was heading OTT partnerships and digital media at Etisalat, so he has a very deep knowledge of the MENA region's localization and tech integration needs.
Thank you, Eva, for this nice introduction. Our audience may be surprised to have a guy who is not currently based in MENA for discussing about such a hot topic, meaning localization. The reason why I think I've been invited, one of the reasons why I've been invited is that a mother company of Screens is based in Beirut, in Lebanon. So yes, the mother company was launched about 30 years ago in Lebanon. And with a number of, from the beginning, a number of famous companies asking to Screens to localize their content. And the first one was BBC, when BBC decided to launch BBC Arabic feed in the region. Then the company has extended. About 5 years ago, Screens opened an office in Montreal, in Canada, and I was lucky enough to open the French office in Paris in 2019. So currently, we have most of the operations are done in the MENA region. And the business has been expanded in North America, then to Europe. And the reason why those offices were opened was not only to expand the business outside MENA, but as the content is circulating more and more on different parts of the planet, we have more and more companies from MENA who want to have their content localized in Europe or content localized for the North American market. And so it was a really strategic move, and we are really glad to be part of this move, especially when it's considered that the localization market is growing 30% year on year, thanks to the arrival on the market of new platforms such as Netflix some years ago, but now with Apple Plus, Apple TV Plus, with Apple TV, with Disney Plus, and all the others who have a worldwide footprint. And so it gives a lot of opportunity for a localization company, not only screens, but screens competitors who are also really often not only competitors, but partners as well. So it gives us opportunity to have this worldwide spread now. So our services cover subtitling and dubbing and voiceover. Those services are, let's say, our core businesses. We are also working on a number of translation works. It could be for website localization or user interface for OTT services localization. For instance, we recently worked on the French localization for Shahid for the North African market, but also for the French market and for a number of other French-speaking territories. So we did the job for them. We localized the entire content and the platform as well. We are also involved, even if not the core business, but we were also involved in a number of projects in terms of content distribution. So some distributors, some producers who want to have their content distributed in MENA are also going through screens. And we have also some creative services. So some distributor, again, and some producers, some studios wants to have trailers that fit the Arab audience, and there we have all the talents and the state-of-the-art studios to create trailers, to create advertising, billboards, and this kind of thing. So we are one of the leading companies, localization companies in the MENA region. We are covering about 60 language pairs. Basically, 60 language pairs mean that we cover 100% of the most common language pairs. So a language pair is, for instance, English to Arabic or Arabic to French, or it's a pair of a source language and the destination language. But in fact, thanks to the large networks of studio partners that we have built during all those last 30 years, we can cover almost any languages, all languages spoken or written worldwide. We have state-of-the-art capabilities. Now, I see that there is a small mistake here in this presentation because we have to update it. We are here saying that we have studios with 5.1 capabilities. Now we have upgraded to 7.1. So we have a big part of our work is for subtitling. So subtitling, but Heba will later on say a few more words about it, about what is the most requiring content, what content is mainly requiring subtitling, and what other content are mainly requiring dubbing. In terms of subtitling, it's a very specific kind of subtitling. I mean, it's not the one that you can see an automatic subtitle on YouTube, for instance, where it's literal subtitling. When it comes to fiction content, for instance, subtitling requires to adapt the initial script first, because we have some languages requires more words or less words than other languages. An example, the French language requires 30% more words than the English language, which means that if we need to fit the text in the screens, we have to reduce and to adapt the initial scripts and to reduce some part of the dialogues. And at the same time to keep the story understandable by everyone. So it's as of today, the artificial intelligence, such as the one used by YouTube or some other services, is not really accurate. We use a bit of artificial intelligence for such work, but as let's say a first step, but it's a very it's not once again, it's not totally accurate. It can be accurate for documentaries, but not that much for fiction, for dramas. Then we are also, of course, involved in dubbing. So the dubbing means also to have a translation work from the initial scripts and to adapt, let's say, because a number of, let's say, play of words does not work depending on the language we are trying to translate. For instance, if you try to translate this let's say this English sentence, it trends like cats and dogs. It does not work in French, and I guess that it does not work in Arabic. In French, it would be, the literal translation would be it trends like ropes, and so all this adaptation is also necessary when it comes to dubbing. In dubbing, we also have we work with several hundreds of different talents, voices talents, because of course we have to select the exact voices corresponding to the original actor. We cannot use a very loud voice for a kid's actor, for instance, because it would seem too weird. And so there is a huge work to be done also for preparing this kind of work. My colleagues will tell you a bit more later on about the different steps for when it comes to subtitling and when it comes to dubbing. The voiceover is also an art by itself. So the voiceover is when there is, usually the voiceover is mainly used for TV reality content or for documentaries. It can be used also for news. It can be used also for I don't know to use this word, but I don't have any other word that come on top of my mind, but for cheap content. That cannot be subtitled for some reasons, and that needs to be dubbed. We don't use what is called the real dubbing. The real dubbing is lip sync, so it's where the lips and the language have to follow the same move. We use a voiceover, so that's another way, cheaper from the dubbing. That's another way to bring some local flavor to a content that need to be dubbed. So translation and adaptation, I already told you about that. Here is the amount of number of that those numbers are from 2020. Now it has grown quite a lot. As I said earlier, we have now 30% more job this year than we used to have in 2020. And but thanks to the number of freelancers and partners with whom we are working, we can be very flexible, and we can always grow those numbers months after months. And here, as a final word, on some of our clients with whom we are working on a regular basis. And we are really proud of having developed over the years such a really nice portfolio of famous brands. There are less famous brands who could deserve to be on this slide, but the slide is not big enough. And once again, thank you for having you on board for this webinar today. And I leave it to Heba again right now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Emmanuel. That's very insightful. I like that your business has grown 30%. That's amazing. I guess lots of OTT platforms opening up in MENA. Next up is Maha. She's joining us from Egypt. I know that Maha had a bit of difficulties reaching the spot where she needs to be to come on this webinar, but we are lucky because we have a recording of her presentation. Maha is the sales director for dubbing and subtitling at Tanweer. She heads all the operations for almost 10 years. And she previously worked with Fox, OSN, launching some of their important projects that involved a lot of content imports, such an adaptation and localization of comedy. So I'm very happy that she's here with us today because she provides different angles of the localization business. So if Maha's not here, we're just going to play her presentation.
I would like to start by thanking everyone who participated in the webinar and the organizers, the moderator, and everyone who has given me the chance to speak about our dubbing process and to introduce Tanweer as a company. I would like to start first by giving an overview about Tanweer. Tanweer is an international media company, and we have a range of activities. We are active in the field of content distribution, production, localization services, and cinema release. Tanweer operates in many territories, and we have different offices in different parts of the world. We operate in India, Turkey, Middle East, North Africa, China, Greece, Cyprus, and Pan-Asia. Over the decades, Tanweer has acquired a reputation of trustworthiness, professionalism, and reliability. With over 30 years of experience, our teams have developed a unique expertise for the requirements of each region. We work with international companies as well as leading TV channels and leading digital platforms. Tanweer Studios began as the first dubbing and subtitling provider in the Middle East 33 years ago. It was founded by Joseph Samai. Since then, the company has become the leading localization services provider of Arabic in the region and maintains this position to this day. In 2019, we expanded our dubbing facilities to Greece. Today, Tanweer Studios own 14 premium studios. I would like to go through the dubbing process briefly to give you a general idea. Then it will be followed by explaining how many studios do we have and how it works. The dubbing process actually starts by assigning the job to the project manager, who will handle the communication with the client. Our highly qualified team are very professional and always in communication with the clients to keep them updated on a daily basis if needed. The process starts with the client providing the videos, the scripts, and the music and effects in high resolution form. The studio then start converting the videos to a low resolution version in order to start the work. The first step in the work is the translation of the script, and the translation of the script would be followed by the quality control of the translation to make sure that the translation is done according to the video and to avoid any spelling or grammatical mistakes. Then the following stage will be the adaptation, which is starts immediately after the translation. The adaptation is the way that the script put for the voice talent to be able to read it correctly. The studio then starts selecting the talents for each role according to the personality in the drama and provide a recorded sample for the clients to approve. In the case of documentary dubbing, we usually get approval for all the voices, but in the drama, it's the 5 or 6 main characters. After the client's approval, the studio starts the recording stage, which is followed by the mixing and mastering until the program is ready for the client. In Tanweer, we use over 800 voice talents across our territories and around all of our studios. We also deliver over 7,000 hours of localization per year. In addition, we have multiple studios across the globe. To begin with, we have 7 studios in Egypt. Egypt is a Disney-approved studios. In addition, our Cairo facility is a Netflix MP3 vendor, Apple and Paramount approved vendor. We specialize in the most common used dialects, including modern Arabic, classical Arabic, Syrian dialect, Egyptian dialect, Levant accent. We also have 2 studios in Amman, established in 2013 in the heart of Amman. Our team in Jordan, they have over 16 years of dubbing experience. Being situated in a relatively stable country as compared with the rest of the Middle East, the hub has been an important asset for localization service into Arabic language. We also have access to a large pool of native-speaking Levant dialect actors. We also have 4 studios in Greece. This is one of our newest facilities located in the heart of Athens. The company has constructed 4 state-of-the-art studios with up to 7.1 mix and screening room. Lastly, we have 1 studio in Dubai. Our office is in the heart of Dubai Media City. This hub specializes in subtitling, mixing, mastering, format conversion, video editing, and quality control. All projects are handled through our studios, meaning that we do not outsource work to third-party vendors. This is done in order to ensure that high security measures as well as premium quality standards are maintained. Specifically, our studios have digital and physical security requirements as established by MPA and CDSA, and we have completed TPN on-site on-site audits. Our current clients are Disney, Paramount, Netflix, Cosmo TV, Turner, Abu Dhabi Media, Amazon, Discovery Channel, Kuwait Plus, Dubai, NBC Group, National Geographic, Nickelodeon, Stars Play, Warner Brothers, ZTV, Fox International Channels, OSN, Lino, SDI, and much more. Our goal in the future is to be the leading premium localization services provider in each of our territories. Our future vision entails expanding our services in terms of not only clients, but also dialects and voice actors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maha, so much for this presentation. Also very insightful. Next up, we have Sarah Tadini from WIAC. Sarah is the content director at WIAC. She wears multiple hats. And you know, WIAC is one of the region's main providers of Bollywood dubbed content. So a lot of imported content there. Sarah maintains the 5 main aspects of the content pipeline, mainly production, acquisition, promotion, dubbing, and subtitling and operations, which is the technical aspect. So we are looking forward to very valuable insights as she gives us a 360 complete perspective on the MENA content journey from somebody that acquires those services. So Sarah, please join us with your screen share.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to share now my screen. Just 1 second. Okay. So thank you, Hiba, for the intro. Thank you, the ICM organizers, for this initiatives. It's an interesting topic, especially for a platform like Wayak, where the majority of our content is adapted content. So let's go through Wayak's story, and I will start by who we are. Wayak is an entertainment hub for Arabs globally, and we are reaching 19 million plus fans through our Arabic social media platform. We have approx 15,000 hours of content with full HD streaming. Wayak is available on both mobiles, iOS and Android, web and mobile app, in addition to several smart TV apps, Android TV, Apple TV, Samsung TV, etc. So the Indian content is our DNA, and taking it to the rest of the world has been always the case for Z. We are present in 173 countries with 86 TV channels, a massive library of 4,800 plus movie titles, around 280,000 hours of TV content, and more than 3.8 billion viewers. So Wayak is the outcome of the strategic decision to venture into the Middle East and bring forward its experience, technology, and library to offer a new stream of entertainment to the Arab world. 34% of our active users are from GCC, and 25% are from Egypt, and 41% are from the rest of the world, where USA, Iraq, and Morocco are the leading market parts for other countries category. Wayak success pillars. So the diversified content, the friendly user experience, and the strong marketing hub are considered Wayak success pillar. On Wayak, we have 15,000 plus hours of content available for our audiences. Back to our diversified content and our topic for today about the localization services in the MENA region, we, Z Entertainment, we were the first to bring the Indian titles with dubbed and subtitled content, which later became a trend and gained popularity among all Arabs around the world. 60% of our content is premium dubbed content. So we are talking about a big number. 60% of our content is dubbed. And our library is 70% series, 27% movies, and 3% are for entertainment and lifestyle shows. And it all falls under different categories, definitely. Apart from the Alwan and the Aflam dubbed content, we also have our unique and separate titles that we dub for Wayak. Some of them are available on AVOD, and the rest are SVOD original dubbed content. I'll move to the next slide, which the slide that I love because it shows our social footprint, and maybe the 19 million plus fans on all our social media platform is a proof on how much our content is being popular, and maybe, if I would say, appreciated by our audiences. And without a good quality of dubbing and subtitling, we won't reach this level of popularity, and we won't reach this level of affinity. So I'll leave you now with a promo for our latest Indian dubbed content that were released yesterday on Wayak. I'll play now the promo.
كانت فكرتك ولا فكرة حدا تاني؟ إذا اكتشفتي إنه زوجك عم يخونك وبلشتي تشكي فيه وبدك دليل على هذا الشك اتصلي فيه. من بعد ما عملت حساب وهم بهي الهوية المزيفة بحقق أمنياتي لكم ساعة. حلمنا هو أكبر من إنه يكون زواج. وما رح تتزوجي بلا مساعدتي. مستحيل أعملها.
Thank you so much, Hiba, and thank you so much for listening. I'll leave it to you now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I really enjoyed watching that and checking all these things that you were, Emmanuel was talking about, and Maha also in the presentation about the lip sync, the translation that cannot be literal, and all these little details. Very nicely put together. So this is the fun part. Well, I don't know if it's fun for me, but I will run you through a very, very quick 2-slide presentation, followed by a small kind of a video clip on social media that will, and I'd like to get your opinion. So for those who are tuning in, I will ask you to go into the social media and vote. So we had a few votes earlier, and I'll tell you what it's about after I share my screen and get you through this. So this is just a 3-slide presentation about, for those of you who are not familiar with the MENA region, these are some numbers to familiarize yourselves. 22 Arabic-speaking countries. MENA is obviously Middle East and North Africa. There are 8 popular spoken dialects. There are a lot more dialects in the MENA region, but I could count 8 that are kind of popular. And look at the number of satellite TV channels in the region. That's only on Nilesat. There's more than 15 OTT platforms, homegrown, and 20 telecom, a lot more than 20, and hundreds of production companies. Now, look at this slide here. This slide is something I put together that gives you a little bit of insight about what is the choice. There's no such thing, and I say it again, and I know it's bold, but no such thing as dubbing into Arabic. When international production houses come into the MENA region, they think they can just dub into Arabic. Like English, it's not like English. There are, like I said, a lot of dialects, but these are the 4 main dialects that are used in dubbing into Arabic, or in terms of genres. Now, before that, I wanted to show you this slide. These are the 4 main dialects: Egyptian, Levant, GCC, and Maghreb. Of course, in each one of those, particularly Levant, GCC, and Maghreb, there are sub-dialects. For example, Lebanese, Syrian, Jordanian, and then in GCC, there are other dialects as well. But these are the main 4, and it's color-coded of where they are spoken. So this is just to give you an idea of what we're looking at in terms of localization. Now, how do we choose from these 4? And how do we choose when to subtitle and when to dub? We will, of course, hear more from the experts, from Sarah, Emmanuel, and Maha, these particular questions. But just to put it in perspective, I've run a quick study on samples, also from my knowledge of Arabic and my experience and focus groups and whatnot of watching Arabic. For example, when it comes to Egyptian Arabic, we've seen a lot of comedy dubbed in Egyptian, and also animation and children content, particularly what happened with Disney, and we'll speak a little bit about that later on. Syrian Arabic is usually chosen for Bollywood content, Turkish series, Spanish, and Korean Asian series. So mainly the series that are imported from these parts of the world that are popular here in MENA. When is classical or white Arabic chosen? The modern standard Arabic. We don't speak modern standard Arabic anywhere in MENA. I have yet to see anybody use that language in the day-to-day life, but this is used mainly, I've seen it to a larger extent with documentaries, also animation, and some, to a lesser extent, with Korean and other Asian series. Subtitling is also used. We've seen it a lot with movies, Western movies and series. We've also seen subtitling used in Korean, Asian series, and also in some instances, Bollywood, and also obviously documentaries is also a big one for subtitling. Now, I'm going to ask you to go to your Instagram pages, to the DICM and myself, Instagram, and you will find a little poll. We've already had some people shared their opinions, but I'm going to also share with you this let me share the right screen so you can watch and see for yourself a little bit of an example of different dialects used in Arabic. So this will be in the on the Instagram. Now put your
سباق مخوفتية.
كويس.
وانت ايه نظامك؟
اروح البيت واكمل تمارين.
تاني؟ الدنيا مش رعب وبس يا اخي. ممكن تسلفني كلونيا؟
شوف عندي مزيد عرق وعفن الليالي.
عندك زبالة؟
لا.
كلب مبلول؟
عندي، اقرف نفسك.
اسمع هذا وكأن العشاء لا يكفي، سأخذها إلى سباق الشاحنات.
جميل.
ما مشاريعك؟
سأذهب إلى البيت وأتمرن.
الحياة مفعمة بما يتعدى الإخافة.
Okay, so this was a quick snapshot of the differences between Egyptian and modern standard Arabic. Even if you don't speak Arabic, I'd like you to go and vote. So far, we have 70% vote for Egyptian and 30% for modern standard Arabic. So just if you don't speak Arabic, what sounds better for you? Now, if I can ask all the speakers to put their cameras on, and we have some questions coming in from the audience. Please keep them coming. We're gonna start off with after you've seen those slides and you've seen the little video, and hopefully we'll get your opinions on social media, on the ICM social media, as well as on my Instagram. This question is we'll start with Emmanuel. You know, in 2012, Disney started dubbing everything into modern standard Arabic. And then in 2017, after several petitions and, you know, perceived dip in their demand, they decided to go back to dubbing into Egyptian dialect. To what extent do you think the choice of dubbing in dialect or subtitling affects the success in MENA of movies or series that prove popularity in different parts of the world? Or in other territories?
I would say so. First of all, I was not quick enough to answer to your to the quiz on Instagram, but I would have to vote. I'm not so sure for a simple reason. We have, of course, even if we advise our clients to go with a dialect or another one, depending on the goal they want to achieve, when it comes to animation, we have...
Emmanuel, we lost your voice. I think you need to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now? But
yes.
I don't... Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, yes.
Was it just a small cut, or do I have to start again from the beginning?
No, it was just a small cut. So please go ahead, continue where you left off.
Yeah, when it, I would say as of today, we have the same amount of requests for dubbing animation in MSA, and for dubbing, even if, as you told it, it's not really spoken, it's much more written Arabic language understood by everybody in the region. But we have to do some dubbing in MSA, and we have to do also dubbing in Egyptian. Once again, considering animation content. And we have the same amount of requests for MSA and same compared to Egyptian.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. I know you have a lot of input in this, and I'm going to try to break it down a little bit because there is so much wealth of information that I know you can give us. But with more than 60% of your content imported, like I said, again, similar question to Emmanuel, the importance, to what extent do you think the choice of dubbing dialect or the affects the popularity of the series? And also, how do you choose your dubbing partners? I guess that's something that a lot of dubbing houses would like to hear from you.
Yeah, so regarding I will start with how we choose our partners. So the good part that we are partners with the Screens International for subtitling and with Tanweer as well for the good reputation in the market. So definitely we choose based on the quality of dubbing. So we're not exclusive with anyone. We work with lots of production, with dubbing houses and subtitling also agencies, but it's all based on the quality. Regarding the Syrian dialect, so why it was our major selection for this dialect. So for Wayak, our priority is always for the Syrian dialect, definitely based on research and based on focus group insights that we did previously at Z. So it's the dialect that it's understood by all Arabs and especially the Egyptian, because it's very hard also for Egyptians to understand all Arab languages. So, however, it doesn't mean that we don't treat or consider some titles individually, like for example, we choose for our famous sitcom, it's called Egaba Kandigarak. For this particular content, we chose to have an Egyptian dialect because it's a sitcom and we know that people, they like to hear anything that's related to this genre, which is comedy, to hear it in Egyptian dialect. And then we had 7 seasons of this content, 7 successful content, and that's it for choosing the languages. So what's our preferable language? So again, I think I answered on 2 questions. Is there any other question that I need to answer on?
Sarah, I think there's a lot of questions that we will want your answers on, but you did answer it very, very thoroughly. You said that.
Okay, I remembered talking about subtitling, right? So you mentioned also when we do subtitles. So for movies, audiences are familiar or used with the real voices of the main movie stars. For example, they adore the voice of Shah Rukh Khan and Amitabh Bachchan. So we cannot do any dubbed content for Bollywood movies because we know that our viewers, they prefer to hear the real voices. So and this, for example, for this genre, for Bollywood movies, we take the decision to do subtitling rather than dubbing, and we leave the long format series for dubbing.
Okay, so you're saying that it really, really comes down to a lot of trial and error and experimenting with what works with your audiences. Yes.
And I would like to add here that thanks to some OTT platforms as well, users now, they have also the ability to choose to watch the preferred also format, or they have an option. Either they want to watch it dubbed or subtitled. This is also a good option that was offered by with some OTT platforms.
Yes, dubbed into different dialects. Are you saying, you can choose?
So now when you enter to some of the OTT platforms, you have the option to choose which feature I want to hear this as dubbed content, or I'll go to subtitled. So we give the users the preference on what they want to choose.
So am I able to, in some OTT platforms, for example, choose, I want to listen to it into Egyptian, or I can listen to it into Levant or GCC?
Or maybe it depends if the content is prepared like that, but mostly I was talking if you want to hear, for example, an Indian series and dubbed or subtitled. So you prefer to listen to their real voices, or you prefer to, for example, you're working from the kitchen and you want to watch your content while it's playing on any TV or smart TV or on your phone, and then you will listen to the dubbed content.
Okay, I'd like to take Maha's opinion on this. Maha has been sitting there quietly, and I know that there's a lot of insights that you can give us, Maha. Sarah was talking about the experiments, experimenting with what works with the audiences to contribute to the success of a platform, of a content, of a popular content. I know that Tanweer is the exclusive partner for Disney for dubbing Disney movies, or was. And I would like to also take your opinion on these experiments. What can you tell us in terms of what kinds of genres that were successful? Any insights about that? The genres in relation to the choice of dialect.
Since we have started the dubbing, which is very long time back, we have experienced many trials of having the Egyptian dialect as a dubbed dialect and the Syrian dialect as well. But we found out over the years that most of the clients, I prefer having the dubbed in Egyptian dialect when it comes to comedy, because the Egyptian dialect is very popular to everyone everywhere in the world, and it's like mostly able to convey the comedy part of the plot, to the viewers. As per the video you have shown before, if you go to the simplified Arabic or you compare it to the Egyptian dialect, you'll find like it's much more funnier in the Egyptian dialect than the simplified Arabic, which is something, like the client, they always, like looking for to please the viewers and make sure they are going to really have the full picture. So I believe that the Egyptian dialect works with all the comedy, whether it's kids comedy or comedy in general. And Syrian dialect work for any other drama, and the simplified Arabic also works with other like kids programs. But if it is comedy, it's preferable in Egyptian dialect. So we have experiment over the year, and now the clients, most of them, they come and they request whatever they feel like this is what they want.
Yes, definitely. I have another question for you, Maha, before that. This is from the audience, and also for Emmanuel. This is for Emmanuel and for Maha. It says here, from 2020 until today, we have seen an increase in the use of dubbed and subtitled content in the OTT platforms in the region. And if they have, what is the percentage compared to 2019? I think, Emmanuel, you already answered that previously in your presentation, right? Like, what's the increase in the demand for Arabic and for subtitling and content compared to 2019 rather than 2020. So I'm going to let you, Emmanuel, answer that first, and then we'll move over to Maha's opinion.
It was 30% as well. It's year on year, it's 30% from 2019 to 2020, and about the same from 2020 to 2021. And I would like to add something. In fact, it's not only a number of a matter of more content to be dubbed, but the fact is that we have more and more clients who just don't want to have one dialect for dubbing or one dialect for subtitling. They want to have for the same content. Some of our clients want to have for the same content several dialects. For instance, some clients, they want to have, instead of having MSA that could fit most of the audience, they want to in order to have more bigger potential audience, they want to have at the same time, for the same content, they want to have a Syrian plus Egyptian plus Khaliji. So Khaliji, because we didn't mention Khaliji until now, and for those who are not aware, Khaliji is the dialect from the Gulf region.
I had myself on mute. So you're saying that there are two things that I have not seen that that were not in the presentation that I did there, and I'd like to ask you about that. But before I answer, and it has to do with Khaliji content GCC dubbing, as well as the genres that were not there, that I didn't put in the presentation. But before I get to that, I want to ask you, Maha, have you seen any volume increases for business since 2019?
Yeah, definitely we have an increase with the dubbing, like the amount of dubbing we having now, it has increased on adding subtitling to the dubbing. Like even last year in 2020, we had a demand on having English subtitling added. And now in 2021, we have witnessed an increase in request of subtitling of English and Arabic and French. So this is what we have noticed recently. And it's been, like almost, most of the OTT, they are using the same concept nowadays, because people, as Sarah mentioned before, some of them, they prefer watching on the original language. Some people, they prefer watching with English subtitling, and also the French subtitling is that an expansion to the North Africa region, with the French subtitling, having it as an option, watching movies and series.
Yeah, we have noticed the same regarding the English and French versioning.
So you're noticing an increase or a trend that OTT platforms are requesting, on top of Arabic and English, also French dubbing or subtitling, at least, right?
Yes, and Arabic subtitling as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with the dubbing.
To summarize, I would say that we have more content to be dubbed or subtitled, and we have more content to be dubbed in more languages than in previous years.
And where is that content mainly coming from? Are you able to share that information? Is it mainly coming from Turkey? Is it mainly coming from Europe, or is it a mixed bag?
It's a mix.
It's a big mix.
Yeah, it's a big mix.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I haven't seen now in the presentation that I did previously, you probably noticed that there is, there are 8 dialects, and I only focused on 4, the most popular ones. But there's also, like you mentioned, Emmanuel, that was really interesting. The GCC, Kuwaiti, Saudi dialects, and also the different genres, for example, talk shows. And I know also Sarah has input in that. For GCC dialects, is that in demand? Do platforms or content buyers, do they require GCC, the content dubbed into GCC dialects, and to what extent? I'll let Emmanuel, and then we'll move on to Sarah, because he's the one who made that point. Have you seen a trend in that in that area?
It's difficult to answer because I don't remind any talk shows that we have to localize recently. Because you were asking this question regarding talk show, am I right?
Talk shows, but also if it's the other side is also GCC dialect. Do you think it's in demand or it's becoming so?
It's in demand, but it's quite difficult to get our quotation accepted. To be honest, because there are very few talents when it comes to dubbing talents or subtitlers in Khaliji. There are very few talents, and so dubbing or subtitling in Khaliji cost 3 or 4 times more than dubbing in Syrian or Egyptian or MSA. It's because there is a lack of talent. So I don't know if in our audience today we have some potential talents, but we need more and more talents who are able to dub or to subtitle in Khaliji, because they are not so many on the market.
I think that's what's very important for us to hear and for audiences to hear. I think there is a trend there, but I'd like to hear from Sarah, because I know we spoke about this in the past and she has some really interesting things to share in that front. So Sarah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So I'll get back to the shows, because you mentioned shows. So we had some previously some shows that we did in Lebanese language, because shows, it's like by categories. So the preferable dialect for and drama is Syrian, definitely. And this is, as I mentioned earlier, it's based on some focus group that was done. So we tried with GCC samples, but the audience, they were more into Syrian when it comes to drama. When it comes to shows, yes, we have some good examples in Lebanese language. And when it comes to sitcom, it's always we go always to Egyptian. This is as per the genre, if I want to split it into genre. So yes, this is for our experience at Wayak and at the entertainment.
Okay, so when it comes to talk shows, you the audiences are used to listening to Lebanese, and that's why you.
They like to. It's either Lebanese, sorry, or Syrian, but mostly Lebanese. Yes.
Okay, very interesting. And when it comes to GCC, we haven't seen.
We had samples in GCC, not live, but within a focus group, and definitely they went to Syrian because it's, as I mentioned, also it's more understood by all Arabs. So this they want.
All right. Interesting. I am aware that we have 5 minutes to the end of this webinar. So if you have any questions from the audience, please shoot them at me. But I would also like to hear before we have 5 minutes left, I'd like to hear about your challenges. So we'll make a quick round about, we'll start with Maha, the biggest challenges that you face in the whole, the process of gaining a client and then choosing the dialects and the whole process. What's the biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge is always the last minute jobs, which is nowadays it's like very in, because some of the OTT they required, like especially in Ramadan, for instance, it's 24 hours. Content cannot be released before that because it's Ramadan content. So you have to do like 3 languages sometimes in 24 hours. You have to translate, time code, QC, and get it ready even before the 24 hours because the platform would want it earlier to be able to do their own thing. So this is, like the always challenge, the constant challenge we're facing every day. And in general, I believe this is the most important challenge.
You're very tight on time always.
Very tight, very tight.
Yes. We do have a question from the audience. The question says, are there currently any tools in place to properly evaluate the dubbing quality when it comes on, or on a scoring system, with it being very objective and not relying on subjective opinions? Are there any current tools that, for the non-Arabic speakers, is there a scoring system that can monitor the dubbing, the QC process?
The question to be?
This is for whoever wants to jump at it.
I think
maybe Emmanuel or Maha, because or even Sarah, because it has to do with QC. Is there a scoring system or something, for the I guess this comes from a non-Arabic speaker, so they want to understand how they can evaluate what they're getting.
For us, the QC internally, this is for us because we know the language. So we have our team here who is doing the QC internally, checking the quality of the dubbing that's done and if the caption is on place and everything. That's what we do. So we have our Arabic team who knows the language, who knows the Syrian dialect, and who can help us with this. This is what's happening internally for Wayak and for Z.
Okay. Well, we have 2 minutes left. I'm going to use these 2 minutes for you to tell me about Emmanuel, your challenges, and we'll move on to Sarah and then the final notes. So please, Emmanuel, in a quick minute, the challenges that you face and the final word.
I would say that the first challenge that we are facing since a couple of years is that in the past, in the region especially, most required pair of languages was English to Arabic. We had mainly only English content to be dubbed or subtitled in Arabic. Now we have more and more requests for dubbing from Japanese, from Korean, from Hindi, from French, from Spanish, into Arabic, into different Arabic dialects. And that's the main challenge because it requires every day more and more talents. And but we are growing our portfolio of talents, of course. But it's always a big challenge to find the accurate talents and the one who are really good, who can deliver on time. And we're not facing that right now, but one of our competitor, with a Switzerland-based localization company, who was complaining yesterday on LinkedIn that they have a number of talent from Scandinavia who accept the job and then who don't show, who don't deliver because they have too much. So they accept the job and they do something else that is maybe better for job that can be more rewarding in terms certainly of revenue. And so yes, the challenge is finding new,
talent.
good and loyal talents.
Well, definitely, I guess that's the biggest thing for dubbing houses. Sarah, final words for you, please. Yes, back to you, Sarah, and then we will wrap up.
I'm not gonna mention, because I'm gonna say it first. I'm not gonna mention the daily challenges that we're facing with dubbing, but I would say the major ones that we faced during the Syrian war and during the pandemic period. So as I said earlier, the majority of our content is long format series with multiple seasons of an average of 70 episodes per season. So our viewers, they got used to the main voices, and you feel that they are somehow attached to these voices. So during the Syrian war, in the middle of recording, we were losing the main VO talents, and for multiple reasons, definitely. Either they left the country or they are blocked on the roads, they couldn't come to the studio. So the challenge here, it was to find a similar voice to continue the series, else we will drop it, because viewers will be annoyed of changing the voices, especially for the main characters. Same thing during the pandemic period. For us, working from home was an option, but for them, for the VO talents, it was not an option. They have to go to the studio and they have to record there. So I remember in Ramadan 2019, we dropped 3 Indian series for the same reason, because the main VO talents, they couldn't come to the studios. So these are 2 main things. Maybe I would add one funny thing. Sometimes some voices, because of flu, or we are humans at the end, so we wait until they are recovered and come back to the studios to record their voices. So this is mainly the main challenges that we are facing.
Your challenges are very, very entertaining, Sarah. I would love to, wrap up on this note. Very entertaining challenges, but these are things that we have to think about, and definitely interesting. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, Sarah, Maha, for your input and valuable insights. Please, everybody, do not forget, save the dates. You find this insightful, you will find the next panel very insightful as well. Coming up on the 11th and 12th of January, e-Ramadan Content Market. Please do sign up. And also in February, there will be another informative panel discussion about monetizing African content in MENA. Lots of insights there. Join us, and that will be on the 16th of February. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, our wonderful speakers, and you have yourself a lovely week ahead. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.